Welcome to A News. I'm Dilek Tuna. These are the headlines. Israeli airstrikes kill another senior Hamas official, according to Hamas-affiliated media reports. Canada's new Prime Minister, Carney, announces snap elections to confront the growing threats from the US tariffs. Pope Francis expresses gratitude for the steps taken toward peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia, labelling the progress as a sign of hope. An Israeli airstrike has hit Gaza's Nasser hospital in the southern city of Khan Yunis, killing at least 5 and wounding several others, according to medics. Footage captured flames burning the exterior sign on the hospital's facade, while thick clouds of smoke billowed from the building. The Israeli military says the strike targeted a key Hamas militant near the hospital, but didn't specify the individual. However, the Hamas-affiliated Shehab news agency claimed the strike killed Ismail Barhoum, a member of Hamas political bureau. Yesterday, Hamas officials reported that a separate strike killed Hamas political leader Salah al-Badawil. Tensions continue to rise between the US and Iran as diplomatic efforts to revive the nuclear deal hit a standstill. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has firmly rejected talks with the US under current conditions, following a letter from President Trump proposing a new deal. Araghchi emphasised that any negotiations could only happen if Washington alters its approach.
Foreign Minister of Iran Abbas Araghchi stated that Tehran will not engage in talks with the US as long as Washington maintains its pressure policy. His statement came in response to President Donald Trump's letter proposing a new nuclear deal. Earlier this month, Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, offering 2 choices: military confrontation or an agreement. Khamenei dismissed it as a deception. Araghchi said Tehran would soon respond to the threats and opportunities in Trump's letter. Araghchi emphasized that negotiations with America were not possible under the current conditions and could only take place if certain approaches changed, recalling Trump's 2018 withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal. Consequent indirect talks on Iran's nuclear program with Biden administration have failed. Araghchi ruled out restoring the previous deal, stating Iran's nuclear advancements make a return impossible, but acknowledged the 2015 agreement could serve as a basis for new talks. Earlier, International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi warned that time is running out for a new deal as Iran enriches uranium close to weapon-grade levels. Tehran insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes.
Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov described talks with the US delegation in Saudi Arabia as constructive and meaningful. Umerov, who led the Ukrainian delegation, shared on social media that key issues, particularly the energy sector, were discussed during the meeting. The talks are part of a broader diplomatic push by US President Donald Trump to bring an end to the 3-year war between Russia and Ukraine.
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would...
Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has called for early elections, seeking a strong mandate to confront the economic threat posed by US President Donald Trump's tariffs. Carney, who previously served as a central banker, has recently assumed leadership of the Liberal Party and is now embarking on a 5-week campaign.
Mark Carney.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a snap election for April 28th, seeking a strong mandate to address the economic threat posed by U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. Although the election was originally set for October 20th, Carney hopes to capitalize on a recent rise in Liberal support following Trump's trade threats and the resignation of former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Carney, a former central banker with no prior political experience, secured the Liberal leadership 2 weeks ago by convincing party members he could handle the crisis.
We can control our destiny. We can have a new Canada built by us, for us. We can give ourselves more than any foreign government can take away. And the best way we can deal with this crisis is to build our strength here at home and help people who will be hit hardest by these tariffs. That's the right thing to do. That's the fair thing to do. That's the Canadian thing to do. That's what makes us strong. As part of that strategy, today I'm proposing a middle-class tax cut to help all working Canadians get ahead. We will cut the lowest income tax bracket by 1 percentage point. For a middle-class tax cut that will benefit a two-income family by up to $825 a year.
With 5 weeks to campaign, Carney faces a competitive race. The Conservatives label him an out-of-touch elitist devoted to high spending and question his financial transparency. Recent polls shows the Liberals slightly ahead with 42% support to the Conservatives' 37%, according to polls.
Political tensions continue in South Korea. The Constitutional Court has overturned the impeachment of Prime Minister Han Duck-seo, allowing him to return to office. Following the ruling, security measures in Seoul have been tightened while Parliament members demand urgent action on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment.
South Korea's Constitutional Court has overturned the impeachment of Prime Minister Han Duck-seo, reinstating him as acting president. Following the ruling, political tensions persist in Seoul with security measures reinforced.
결정에 감사드립니다. 그리고 무엇
I am grateful for the wise decision made by the Constitutional Court. I am deeply grateful to all members of the Cabinet for their dedication during the suspension of my duties. I will address the urgent situations first.
권한 대행과 국무위원들 한 분 한 분께
A heavy police presence was stationed outside the courthouse as Parliament members called for an urgent decision on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment, with the court yet to rule on his case. Opposition lawmaker Shin Jong-hoon called him the leader of the insurrection. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister emphasised the importance of ending political polarisation in the country.
우리 모든 국민들은
I believe that all of our citizens are now firmly raising their voices, saying that we should not be deeply divided by the fiercely opposing political factions. I think there is no longer a left or right. What is truly important, and our task now, is for our country to move forward and develop.
있다고 저는 생각합니다. 오로지 우리나라가
With the Constitutional Court's ruling, Han Duck-seo has returned to office. He was impeached on December the 27th amid tensions with Parliament after refusing to appoint 3 justices to the Constitutional Court.
After weeks of uncertainty following a series of earthquakes in February, Santorini is finally welcoming its first cruise ship of the season. The tremors forced ships to reroute, left businesses worried, and even led some people to flee. But now, with the government reassuring visitors that it's safe, tourists are returning, and locals are hopeful that this marks the start of a much-needed tourism rebound.
The first cruise ship of the season arrived at the island of Santorini following a series of earthquakes in February that had forced cruise ships to divert to other islands, prompted evacuations, and raised concerns about the upcoming tourism season. Tourists expressed excitement about returning to Santorini and said they felt reassured by the safety measure taken by the government.
We love being the first cruise ship that got the chance to come to Santorini. We feel really blessed.
I've been here before, and yes, it's kind of unusual how you've redone where we stop, where we go, but you've worked it out in the midst of all of your shakes around here. So I think you've done a good job.
I heard about the earthquakes when I was in the States, thousands of earthquakes, but small. So initially I thought, well, maybe I won't see Santorini, but it changed again. So luckily I get to come, and it's beautiful, and we got the most beautiful day to visit.
Meanwhile, locals, including shop owner Tassos Kontos, expressed hope that the island's tourism industry would recover.
We all hope that things will return to normal, that people will come back. The cloud seems to be lifting, so things should improve for everyone. At least that's what we hope.
καλύτερα και το ελπίζουμε.
Greece, located on multiple fault lines, is one of the most earthquake-prone countries in Europe, according to the Institute of Geodynamics at the National Observatory of Athens. Despite the recent tremors, both tourists and locals remain hopeful that Santorini's tourism season will recover as planned.
Pope Francis has expressed gratitude for the steps taken toward peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan as the two nations move closer to finalising a peace agreement. The Pope referred to the progress in the South Caucasus as a sign of hope and prayed that it could inspire other conflicts to find resolution through dialogue and goodwill. The statement of the Holy See reads, "I'm pleased that Armenia and Azerbaijan have agreed on the final text of the peace agreement. I hope that it may be signed as soon as possible and may thus contribute to establishing lasting peace in the South Caucasus." Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi will pay an official visit to Armenia today and tomorrow. According to a statement from the Armenian Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Ani Badalyan, Araghchi will hold bilateral talks with Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan in Yerevan on Tuesday. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai says it's part of ongoing consultations between Iran and its neighbours. Araghchi will also meet with Armenia's Prime Minister and other officials to discuss strengthening bilateral relations and recent regional developments.
عملیات وعده صادق یک و دو به خوبی عزم ایران.
The Istanbul Criminal Court has chosen arrest as a preventative measure for Ekrem İmamoğlu, arrested on charges of leading a criminal organisation involved in fraud and bribery. Furthermore, Turkey's Interior Ministry announced that Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu has been temporarily suspended from office following his arrest. The legal actions against him involve two main probes: a corruption investigation related to public tenders and a municipal employment case alleging the recruitment of individuals with ties to the terrorist group PKK. Additionally, separate claims have emerged regarding the handling of party funds. And now joining us from Istanbul, Turkey, is Mehmet Çelik, a political analyst. Mr. Çelik, welcome to the programme.
Thank you. Hello.
Now, as we understand, Ekrem İmamoğlu and 20 others are jailed as part of a corruption investigation, but the court hasn't actually yet pressed with terror charges against the mayor. What's your take on this?
Well, there's two separate cases against Mr. İmamoğlu who will be tried actually for both cases, but they decided to arrest him on one of the cases, which is related to some illegal activity, illegal transactions, allegations regarding bribery, etc., during his time as a mayor. The other one, I mean, at this point, doesn't really. It's not a deciding factor whether he's arrested for the other charge or not, legally, anyways, because he's already arrested for bribery charges. But his trial will be continuing for both cases, as there's some allegations regarding both terror links as well as the illegal transactions. So I think for now, there is a time that will take place for the court to, gather all the evidences and then have compile all the other witnesses and as well as the material that will be used against him. But for now, I think there's a fact that this issue will be, serving or at least be manipulated by the opposition for their interest and their argument. And on the other hand, this is a judicial process that must be followed and respected. And at the end of the day, there are some explanations that must be done both from the AK Party side with regards to convincing the public that this is not a politically motivated issue. But on the other hand, the opposition will have to convince the public that this is not, some just solely politically motivated case, but they have to answer some of the allegations as well.
Okay, and Imamoglu has now been removed from mayoral duty after his formal arrest and jailing. How do you think the Turkish government is handling the situation in terms of its international reputation?
Well, when it comes to international reputation, I think the fact that Mr. Imamoglu is removed is criticized by many from the Western countries, especially Europe. But at the same time, it should not be forgotten that Turkey is an independent country with its own state of law and as well as independent judiciary. And I think this status and this process must be handled and respected in that sense. If this was a solely politically motivated issue, which if the public is not convinced otherwise, it will not serve the ruling AK Party and Mr. Erdogan's government in the long term. But it should be respected that this is a judicial process and the outcome should be respected. And until then, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And I think this is also a fact that must be highlighted.
Okay, Mr. Çelik, thank you so much for joining us today. Turkey's Capital Markets Board has introduced a series of measures in response to recent developments in the Istanbul Stock Exchange. The regulatory actions, which took effect today and will last for 1 month, will aim to ensure market stability and investor protection. Here are the details.
Effective from Monday, the 24th of March, until the close of trading on the 25th of April, the Capital Markets Board of Turkey has implemented several key measures to ensure market stability and investor protection. Those measures include a ban of short selling in the equity markets of Borsa Istanbul Turkey Stock Exchange market, eased regulations on share buybacks for publicly traded companies, increased flexibility in equity ratio requirements for margin trading in capital market transactions. According to the board, these measures are designed to create a reliable, transparent, efficient, stable, fair, and competitive environment for the functioning and development of capital markets. It says protecting the rights and interests of investors remains a priority. The Financial Regulatory and Supervisory Agency also says it's closely monitoring transactions conducted in Borsa Istanbul to maintain market integrity and stability. Market analysts believe these measures could have a significant impact on investor behavior, influencing trade volumes and overall market sentiment in the coming weeks.
The Trump administration is importing eggs from Turkey to address record high prices and shortages caused by a severe bird flu outbreak. The Egg Producers Central Union in Turkey confirmed that Turkey will export around 15,000 tons of eggs to the US between February and July 2025. The US Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins confirmed the imports have started, with talks underway for more supplies. The bird flu outbreak has led to the culling of 30 million birds, sharply reducing the US egg supply. Prices have already jumped 65% in the past year, with the USDA expecting another 41% rise in 2025. Turkey's defence industry has successfully completed a crucial test for its artificial intelligence-powered mini-cruise missile Kemankesh-1. Developed by Baykar, the missile has now proven its capabilities in a maximum flight and dive test.
Turkish defense company Baykar says its artificial intelligence-powered mini-cruise missile Kemankesh-1 has successfully completed its maximum flight and dive test. It's part of the missile's ongoing development program, and the company says it marks a significant step forward in Turkey's defense capabilities. Turkey's first tech company says 2 Kemankesh-1 missiles were launched from a Bayraktar TB2 unmanned combat aerial vehicle at the company's flight training and test center in Keşan, Edirne. Both missiles flew more than 100 kilometers before executing precise dive maneuvers toward their designated targets. The test concluded with parachute-assisted landings. Kamankesh-1 is the first in Baikar's family of mini-intelligent cruise missiles and has been specifically designed to target high-value strategic assets. The device is intended for integration with Baikar's advanced platforms, including Bayraktar TB2, TB3, and Akinci unmanned combat aerial vehicles. Equipped with an AI-assisted electro-optical guidance system, jet engine propulsion, and anti-jamming technology, Kamankesh-1 is built to withstand electronic warfare and adverse battlefield conditions. The tech company says that with a range exceeding 200 kilometers, the missile is capable of engaging targets behind enemy lines and remaining airborne for up to an hour. The Turkish defense company says it has been designed for high-precision strikes, says it makes a valuable asset for modern warfare scenarios.
You're up to date with world news for the hour. Stay with us on A News for more updates from around the world.